What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. And if you're new here, welcome to the basement, to the channel for the first time. I am Ron Stewart. We cover fantasy football on this channel literally daily from now through your fantasy football championships. Now, today I wanted to get into my top 10 must starts of the week. Just 10 players. Some of them are going to be streamers, some of them are going to be guys that are, fringe RB2s, RB3s. Now, I just want to make it clear. Start your studs. Start your studs. Do not get cute. Don't sit Ezekiel Elliott against the Buccaneers because of the Zach Martin injury and because of the Buccaneers injury. We play our studs. If you drafted a guy in the first 3 to 5 rounds and he's healthy, he should probably be in your lineup. The guys we're getting into today are more so going to be flex options, and maybe you had an Etienne, an Akers, a Dobbins, and those guys are now injured. Rest in peace. But now you have to kind of make some tough decisions for your RB2 spot, your flex spot, and all of that. So I wanted to get into these fringier plays, get into some streams at the end. With that being said, make sure you go down below, subscribe, leave a like. We post here daily. We're going to be doing a bunch of live streams this season as well. Let's go.
Here we go.
And this first one is my boy. We have the sweet DeAndre Swift, and we've been talking him up all offseason. And I just want to give you one last time my vote of confidence to start DeAndre Swift in week 1. If you drafted him in your first 5 rounds, there's no reason to be sitting him. It was just announced that he's going to play in week 1. That's very positive news. It seems like his whole, the uncertainty surrounding DeAndre Swift was more so a conditioning problem than it was his groin. Is he going to be game ready? Is he going to be able to take 10, 15, 20 touches in week 1? Now, he gets the 49ers this week. They're 7.5-point dogs in this game. The Lions are going to be behind all day long in this matchup. So I see a lot of targets going Swift's way in this game. I think that he is going to be a fringe top 15 running back in PPR formats this week. I am personally excited to start Swift in the spots that I have him. Then we have Gus Edwards, and fade all of the noise on Gus Edwards. I know that there's a lot of noise going on with this Ravens backfield. We had Justice Hill tear his Achilles. We had J.K. Dobbins tear his ACL. The only thing I'd be worried about is that Gus Edwards doesn't get this weird curse going on in Baltimore. But I don't care that they signed Le'Veon Bell. I don't care that they signed Trenton Cannon. Those are strictly names to me. Now, obviously, Trenton Cannon is just a name. He was on the Jets at one point. I remember him. He's just a fast guy for special teams. But Le'Veon Bell, we might still see his player picture. I think that is Le'Veon Bell. That is not the Le'Veon Bell that me and you know so dearly. That is a shell of what once was. I'm not concerned at all for Gus Edwards. He has virtually no competition. He has Tyson Williams in the backfield, who I think will get, a sneaky little workload. But I think Gus Edwards will get 65% plus of the snap share in the workload. I'd be starting him as a low-end RB2 this week against the Raiders, who are known to be a soft run defense. I think I saw the line. It was -3.5 for the Ravens. I was shocked by that. I think that the Ravens have an opportunity to blow out the Raiders. The Raiders are a 6.5 win-loss team over in Vegas. There's a good chance that the Ravens just absolutely plow the Raiders, go out there. Gus Edwards maybe churns out some of the game at the end. I can see Gus Edwards having, 15 carries and maybe a touchdown or 2 in this game and be a very nice RB2 for your team. Then we're going to talk about Raheem Mostert, who I think is a great play for week 1. And we always knew this. He's going to absolutely tear up the Lions. He's a good, week 1, week 2, maybe week 3 kind of play. The problem with Raheem Mostert is his profile, his archetype as a player. Everything lines up for him in the beginning of the season and not at the back half of the season. We know injuries catch up with him. He's 29 years old now. He's thin. He keeps getting banged up. We have Trey Sermon that could command more of a role. Keep your eye out for Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell is a stud out of Louisiana Lafayette, Ragin' Cajun. I don't know why I said it weird. But Raheem Mostert, as of now, is a top 15 to 18 running back start this week. The Lions give up 26.7 points per game last year to opposing running backs. That was dead last. They're still bad. They'll still probably be a bottom 10. So I think the 49ers absolutely run it down their throats. They're -7.5 favorites. They're going to sit on a lead. Raheem Mostert is going to get the bulk of the carries in a game where they're going to have a lot of positive game scripts. So he's a nice RB2 this week. And in that same game, we're going to talk about Brandon Aiyuk, because the Lions, while they suck at defending the run, they're also pretty bad at defending the pass. They were the worst team in fantasy defense to opposing wide receivers. They let up the most points. And Aiyuk has the biggest matchup advantage on PFF. We're going to be using this metric a lot this season. So PFF has a nice metric where they take into account a wide receiver, how good that wide receiver is, and then how bad the secondary they're going up against is. And they kind of spit out a number where that is their matchup advantage. Aiyuk has the biggest discrepancy of his talent level versus the opposing cornerbacks in week 1. I think he is a top 15 wide receiver start this week. He is going to be out there as a locked and loaded wide receiver 2. He is going to go crazy on this secondary. Now, I think Aiyuk is kind of a given. You know, if you drafted Aiyuk, you're probably starting him, but I just wanted to lump that in there with Raheem Mostert. A guy that I think is probably on your bench, maybe even in one of your flexes, Corey Davis. I think he's a solid flex play this week. I think that he could even be a back-end wide receiver 2 type play. And I think Zach Wilson's going to rely on his safety blanket in Corey Davis. We saw Corey Davis get absolutely peppered with targets in the preseason. He ran 13 routes. He saw 10 targets. I cannot explain how insane that is. Last year, you know, Devontae Adams had like a 30% target per route run, let's say. That is about that's like elite. Like 25 to 30% is elite. I think a guy like Justin Jefferson had like a 22.8%. Corey Davis saw a target on 77% of routes in the preseason, which is just insane. Now, obviously, that's not going to sustain, but we know that Wilson likes him as a safety blanket, as his main target, and he's built a rapport with him. The Panthers don't have a great secondary, and now we have Jamison Crowder dealing with COVID, and we have Elijah Moore, who is coming off of injury. These are two players that, you know, have been in and out of practice, haven't been able to establish that same connection that Corey Davis and Zach Wilson have, so I like Corey Davis to get a lot of targets in week 1. I'd be starting him in the flex spot as a nice, strong wide receiver 3. Moving on to the tight end position, I want to talk about Mike Gesicki, because if you drafted him, you probably paired him with a Tonyan, with a Higbee, with a Noah Fant, with a Gerald Everett. Trying to think of other, with a Jonnu Smith. But Mike Gesicki, this is the week to start him. And it's not because he has a good matchup. He's playing the Patriots that are actually pretty good against tight ends, which would matter if Mike Gesicki was actually a tight end. Mike Gesicki is just a wide receiver posing as a tight end. He was second in slot snaps among tight ends last year. He plays a lot out wide. He plays a lot in the slot. And I think this is going to be a unique opportunity for Mike Gesicki, where with Will Fuller serving that 1-game suspension, we're going to see Mike Gesicki splitting out wide a lot in this game, because they're going to be a man down in that wide receiver room with Waddle and Devontae Parker. There's not much going on in that wide receiver room past that. So I like Mike Gesicki as a fringe top 6, top 8 tight end this week. So if you have him on your team, you probably don't have one of the elite guys, I would be playing him. Then I wanted to get into some streamers at quarterback, tight end, kicker, and defense, because a lot of us, maybe we drafted 2 weeks ago and we didn't really, take into account what our team would look like in week 1. Maybe we drafted Justin Fields as our quarterback 1, or, we drafted, I don't know, some random defense, like the Cleveland Browns defense is going to play the Chiefs. You don't really want to start them in week 1. Now, at quarterback, I like Matt Ryan. Now, I don't know if I already said this, but all these players are going to be under 50% owned in ESPN leagues. I like Matt Ryan against the Eagles at home. Again, they're going to be in the dome. This is only a 48-point over-under, but this is a game that I see that has sneaky shootout potential. Again, they're in the dome. I love these dome games because you don't have the weather going on. There's always more scoring that goes on in these games. And you have Matt Ryan going up against Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts, for me, damn near made the starts of the week list. And I think that Jalen Hurts, if you don't have Lamar Jackson, Kyler, the elite quarterbacks, that top 5, I'm starting Jalen Hurts this week against the Falcons. The Falcons don't have a great defense. They invested their first-round pick into Kyle Pitts, so that defense is still hurting. And we're looking at a situation here where if Jalen Hurts goes crazy, and we know Jalen Hurts likes to sling it, he's going to be one of the more aggressive passers in the league, Matt Ryan can play that same game. So I think this game has sneaky shootout opportunity. And Matt Ryan is someone who got disrespected this offseason. But if we turned around and he had 30-plus touchdowns and almost 5,000 passing yards, I wouldn't be shocked at all. Then we go to the tight ends, and I think Jared Cook for the Chargers is a pretty good start this week. He's playing against the Washington football team, and again, we're going to be looking at the biggest advantage, and he has the 4th biggest advantage on PFF among tight ends, going up against the Washington football team's John Bostic at linebacker. And it's not hard to see a world where this Washington football team gives Herbert, a little bit of a tough time. So he kind of depends on his tight end a little bit. Maybe Jared Cook gets open in the end zone. He falls into the end zone. We could see Jared Cook get like 40 yards and a touchdown this week. So if I'm in a pinch and I have a guy, maybe like a Gerald Everett or a Hunter Henry or an Evan Ingram who might not even play this week, I think Jared Cook is a strong play that you can grab off waivers and plug him into your lineup. Then at defense, we have the Panthers going up against the Jets this week. And this one sucks because I am a Jets fan, but if I'm being real with myself, I've been a Jets fan for 20 years, and I know that things don't really go as planned for us. And this could easily be a game where Zach Wilson comes out and sees ghosts. He could play bad. He could play from behind. He might get sacked a couple times, turns the ball over a few times, has those classic rookie mistakes. And we have Sam Darnold. I remember Sam Darnold, his rookie year, his first game on Monday Night Football, maybe it was Thursday Night Football, against the Detroit Lions, throws a pick six on his first pass. It's just a Jets tradition for these rookie quarterbacks to come in and not look great. So I like the Panthers as a top, like 7 or 8 defense to stream this week. So I'm going to probably even be playing them in a couple places. Then this last one, I'll be honest, I don't even really have the credentials to recommend kickers. And I don't think anyone does. I don't think anyone besides people that have like spreadsheets and shit, no one can really tell you what goes into account with these kickers. But I think Robbie Gould is a solid option. I don't know why he's not owned in more leagues. He's always been a solid kicker for fantasy. And I think he's a fine stream where the 49ers are going to steamroll the Detroit Lions. We talked about them a few times on this episode, on this video. And I think Robbie Gould is a nice option to, get into the red zone a few times, kick some PATs, maybe get a field goal here or there. He's a decent stream option if you need a guy off waiver. Now, that's going to do it for us today. Now, if you've been following along this offseason, you've been loving the content, and you want to know, Corey Davis is a great start, but I also have Mike Williams. Who should I start? I'm going to be putting out weekly rankings just for $5 on the Patreon, patreon.com/Ron Stewart. It'll be in the description. It'll be down below in the comments. But if you want to get your hands on my weekly ranking so you can see, exactly who I'm starting in each position or, depending on what your team looks like, make sure you check that out. Now, I'm going to go live stream after I do this. I'm actually probably going to eat dinner first. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate it. Make sure you go down below, subscribe, leave a like. I'm going to go grub up real quick. Then we're going to go live stream for one of the last times before kickoff. I think today, when this video comes out, it's going to be Thursday, the day of kickoff. So this is dope, man. We're really getting into the football season here. Now, I want to say this isn't going to be our actual in-season schedule. These are kind of, more fun, laid-back videos I put together. These top 10 must-starts. But we're going to have a very set schedule next week. It's going to be fire content. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you turn on the notification bells. Now, that's going to do it for us today. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one.